Ladies and gentlemen, it is episode 271 of the Audible podcast. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell by our apparel that it's a very special episode. Most importantly, it is the 2024 Domeys. This is the finest night in UTSA fandom. The only award ceremony for and by Roadrunner fans. It is our opportunity once a year to survey the UTSA fan base for the moments, the players, the victories that will stand the test of time and define our memories for the year that was. And Adrian, it's an honor to be here with you for what is this? We do this every year. 6th, 7th Domey. We always forget how many we've done, but
it feels like the 6th annual Domeys. It might be the 7th. A beautifully put intro, Jared, and spectacular. Very, very, very excited to be here for yet again another installment of the Domeys. It is the only awards that represents UTSA athletics that the fans vote for. You, the Alamo Audible listeners, the Dome heads, as we love to call you guys. And it wouldn't be possible without your votes. It's really, really fantastic. Grand evening where we celebrate great accomplishments of the year prior. And so tonight we'll be looking back at 2024, which was a year of transition, a year of growth, a year of still phenomenal moments for UTSA athletics. And like you said, Jared, the moments that will stand the test of time. And to give you guys some background on the Domeys, we do try to finally curate only the best to go even on the nomination board that you guys get to vote on. So all the Domeys nominees, shout out to you guys. Really fantastic moments from Athletes of the Year, Moments of the Year, to Meme of the Year. Yes, all of you sickos that get to contribute to the Domeys as well. It does mean a lot. Your contributions mean a lot. Your vote means a lot. And we do take our time to finally curate all these best moments. So a tremendous shout out to all these moments and all these people that comprise the Domeys, indeed, sir.
Yep, and big shout out to everyone who is a part of the nomination and selection process. We do get nominations throughout the year, especially for Meme of the Year. It's the most common one. But I have had people message us and be like, hey, you should consider this person for Athlete of the Year or Moment of the Year, whatever, which is always great. And of course, it is hard to take an entire season of athletic competition and academic achievement and boil that down into 4 selections across, various categories. So I've got a few friends and trusted sources that I lean on heavily for their assistance and their guidance. So thank you all who've played a part and helped answer any questions that I may have reached out to. And of course, Adrian, before we go any further, I think it's really crucial that we take a moment to pause before we get into any categories and just recommend people to switch over to YouTube if you're listening to the audio format. Because Aaron Livingston, our incredible creative director, is going to take the audio and video that we're recording now and is going to really work his magic over it with some special effects. He'll have some photos, some videos, some graphics, all of that stuff. So it's a true multimedia experience to watch us on YouTube. Of course, you should be subscribed over there and get notified when we post new videos and all of that good stuff. Because all of our episodes are all on YouTube now, all in video format. But the Domeys is especially one to look out for in video, given all the love and care that Aaron pours his heart into. So please go hit the pause button and flip over to YouTube if you're not there already.
Yes, Alamo Audible on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. But you definitely want to be tuned into the Domeys on video. Well said, Jared. Good call. I think it's good to just sort of zoom out and look at 2024 as a whole. Over the years of the Domeys, we've endured kind of the full spectrum of UTSA fandom, at least UTSA football fandom in particular, but across all sports, I think we've seen the ebbs and flows of ups and downs of programs all across the UTSA athletics department. And we've got to experience some extremely high highs between not just football, but UTSA soccer as well. And we got to see some teams completely turn their entire athletics program around, and football is one of those since we've been doing the Domeys. And we look at the baseball program, we look at women's basketball, we see the strides that men's basketball is trying to make currently here in 2025. And I think it's safe to say we've gotten spoiled in UTSA athletics moments through what was the Frank Harris era of UTSA football, back-to-back conference titles, first bowl win, finally coming around. But it's just this can't stop winning thing that happened for UTSA football fan with double-digit win seasons and just dominance. And I think it overtook the entire athletics department. I mean, we were kind of all excited about all sports because football has that magnetism to it. And I think we got our expectations up too a lot, which is good for the fans. But we've, in 2024, I think, learned to kind of appreciate going through that building process again because we were really, really spoiled and getting to see the football team go from good but pretty rough to well executed and extremely, extremely good. I've really enjoyed watching UTSA athletics over 2024. I think not just football, but across the board. We've seen teams get better and better. We're chipping away here, women's basketball. We're chipping away UTSA baseball. And we see the improvements happening. We see it getting better. And it's just part of that process of UTSA growing as an entire institution, which really, I think, brings us to the overarching message of 2024.
Yeah, I love that point. I would love to jump in right there. Like, because to me, 2024 wasn't so much a year that I'll remember for like the marquee moments on the field or on the court. There were some really good ones that we'll talk about in our nominations, right? But to me, it's like everything that happened away from the field of competition, I think matters a lot more and is going to have a bigger impact for like the future of the athletics program in the university. Than like particular wins or upsets or anything like that. And like to give some examples, right? I think about like 2024 for me was the year where I knew I could tune into pretty much any UTSA contest on ESPN Plus and have a really good experience watching that sport with professional broadcast quality. The great job that all the broadcasters do of making the games really fun to watch and giving great objective coverage for play-by-play and color commentating and all of that in a really high resolution broadcast with like limited lag and all of that. It's like I think a lot of people take it for granted. I mean, for those of us that paid $14 for like whack Western Athletic Conference streams back in the day, right? Like, I mean, hell,
with horrible quality.
It used to be rare to be able to stream men's basketball, like the second largest revenue sport in the NCAA. It used to be like pretty much impossible to find most of those games. A lot of like sketchy Russian streaming sites sometimes that I don't know how they're finding the broadcast from like Peoria, Illinois or whatever. So to me, like that is a really big achievement that is not going to show up in our ceremony tonight. But it's something I think about a lot. And I think also for me, this was the year that I think like the floor across pretty much all of the programs raised a little bit, right? Like you don't see as many losses to like lower funded schools as we have in the past. And, like this is getting into 2025, but like I look at what softball is doing this year where like they're mostly dominating smaller schools, right? And like, I don't know if they're like really going and upsetting power programs or anything like that, but I feel like that's what we should expect from the department, right? Of like the budget's increased so much, the investments increased so much, the level of athlete on every roster is improved. We should feel really confident and not be that worried about getting upset by schools that it's embarrassing to lose to. And I feel like that didn't happen all that much in 2024. Obviously, some notable exceptions. So like while we don't have like the high highs of like beating a Baylor or something like that all that often, pulling off a ranked upset or something like that, don't want to take for granted that like I don't think that there were like that low of lows all that much throughout 2024.
A higher floor. The floor is raising for UTSA athletics across UTSA athletics. I would absolutely agree with that. Jared. I would absolutely agree with that. I think that's well said. The overarching story of 2024 is without a doubt, I think the merger, Jared, of UTSA and UT Health, San Antonio, coming together as one singular UT system entity. And that massive transition as UTSA embarks on that as an institution, that enormous growth has really reflected UTSA athletics of the last couple of years. And 2024 now verging in this massive transition. And so it's funny to see how athletics in the university really have paralleled each other in recent time.
Mm-hmm. Well, Adrian, I think that's a pretty good recap of 2024. A good synopsis. Shall we get into our first category?
It's only right that we kick off the Domeys categories with a massive bang, baby. And what better way to do it than with the singular best moment of 2024. This is a tough one,
of course,
Jared.
This is athletic moment, right? We have a separate category for academic achievement. But we'll go through the nominations as they appear on the ballot, not in the order of votes. And first up is UTSA's Myrtle Beach Bowl victory over Coastal Carolina. A very kind of surreal game. It was like, 10 a.m. in Conway, South Carolina, in the middle of the week. It was peak bowl season for sure. But a really dominating performance from UTSA, albeit against a very diminished Coastal Carolina Chanticleer roster.
Yeah. It was 2 days before Christmas, to be exact. And UTSA essentially had their starters up against Coastal's third string at some positions, at a lot of positions, second and third stringers, their backups. So it was a good old fashioned mollywhopping, but it was our first away win of the year. We were able to get rid of that just horrible winless on the road column. It's not on this record sheet as an official road victory. However, Coastal Carolina hosted their own home bowl game. So while UTSA is the home team on the scoreboard, we did get in front of a home crowd and the away crowd, is first road victory. I think that was big, and I think just the fact that it was our second win and the fact that it was such a rough football year, Jared. We got like that light at the end of the tunnel, and it just felt good to win that game. And we had an electric November where we really turned things around. But for those that watched the football program all throughout the season, remembers how hard it got in October, I think that bowl win felt really, really good, despite us sort of knowing what was already going to
happen. Yep, well said. Next nominee is also a football moment. That is UTSA's home victory over Memphis, a 44-36 win that was probably more convincing than the final score would lead you to believe. The Tigers did have a nice little run there at the end to make it semi-respectable. But, depending who you ask, it could be UTSA's first ever ranked win, as Memphis was ranked 25th in the Coaches Poll. We don't count it. Adrian and I decided that AP is the only one that counts. Or if the college football playoff poll is out, then that takes precedence. But we won't be acknowledging the number 25 from the coaches poll going forward.
Full disclosure.
Yeah. Well said, not to take away from the win. It was a great win. Owen McCallum,
massive win.
Seth Hennigan, incredible.
The single game that turned around the entire season, the first game in November, after the worst, the largest margin of dropped victory of victory that we lost in that loss to Tulsa just a week prior.
The biggest collapse,
biggest collapse,
biggest comeback allowed, I guess.
Biggest comeback allowed. We gave it away. It was horrible. We all thought there's just no way UTSA even finishes with a winning record at this point. Memphis is the beginning of the turnaround for this football program, and probably the most impressive win on the season, if you ask most people, I would say. So, good moment for me. Maybe better than the bowl for me.
Bittersweet one, obviously. I think it kind of reaffirmed like what we all knew, that this team was very talented. Should have won more games. had the talent to win more games, and they didn't do it.
Yes.
So, to
Well said.
see the potential there, I think was a bit frustrating, knowing that this could have been a double-digit win season for the Roadrunners for sure. Because the team that showed up against Memphis definitely had that capability, but they just couldn't win on the road. So, it was a hard pill to swallow, but obviously a great achievement for UTSA, a great win, and just a really fun game. And it was on national television as well, so can't go wrong there.
Yeah,
ESPN too. Next up, so this one actually got last place, which I was a little surprised by because I thought it was a pretty big deal. UTSA moving from Adidas to Nike was announced in 2024, and I feel like that movement is pretty monumental. I think back to like when UTSA was with Nike originally, like when I was in high school, and just feels like a whole generation ago. I guess it literally was. It's been that long, and I think like this moment will indicate the same. For another generation of Roadrunner fans coming up that are going to associate UTSA with the swoop instead of the three stripes.
It is big. Even though it's just a logo and aesthetic value on the surface, there is something more distinguished about seeing the Nike swoosh on a university's gear, merch, jerseys, clothing than seeing any other brand, period. Right? And I know there's levels to it, right? I mean, Adidas probably look better than the Russell R or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that swoosh, man, it carries a little bit of, I don't know, it's a little imperial.
Sure.
So it does feel like a big one, and I think a lot of people are more excited about it, but it maybe not be something that resonates until they see that bookstore filled with it wall to wall, and they got just an unbelievable selection of things.
I was going to see like once the first jersey drops start coming out, probably the summertime if I had to guess. I don't know. I think it'll start to feel a little bit more real for people and maybe sink in a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, wrapping us up with our final nominee for Best Moment of 2024, baseball with a huge series win over ECU. The Pirates came into that series ranked in the top 10 in college baseball, and it was actually the first opening series for UTSA as members of the American Athletic Conference in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
What I remember most about the series was I think UTSA was the first team to post like 3 runs against Trey Savage, who was drafted, I think, in the first round of the MLB draft or something like that. So UTSA took him out of the game pretty early, and I think it was like his worst start of the season or one of his 2-3 worst starts of the year. So to me, this is also the turning point of where ECU fans really start to have like a personal animosity towards UTSA, which is good. I mean, I think we want to be hated by all because we beat their ass, somewhere along the line. So great moment for sure. Great series.
And I think the timing of it all, Jared, if you recall, the preseason or out of conference play, whatever you want to call it, was not disastrous for UTSA, but it was not good. It was far from good. In fact, we had dropped games that we should have won against schools that we probably should have beat, and we just didn't look. We looked very inconsistent, and we really weren't sure what this team was going to be going into conference. I think a lot of people were more pessimistic than they were optimistic about UTSA baseball in general at this time. And you have to go in against number 10 ECU, and I think everyone is in the back of their mind like, oh man, they're going to come into San Antonio and they're going to beat us up, sort of as like, you guys don't belong here quite yet. It was a massive turnaround for this team to go out and beat ECU's ass, as you put it. And I thought it was just fantastic, and really a point in the season where I think this team turned on after that, and they kind of didn't look back for the entire month of March and April. And it was really good stuff. That was a monumental win, ECU. Maybe my favorite moment out of the entire 4.
Nice, I like that. Well, without further ado, the winner for Best Moment of 2024 in UTSA Athletics goes to the football team's home upset of Memphis, a 44-36 victory.
It's the right answer. That was definitely a bigger win and a bigger game, a bigger moment for UTSA football than the Myrtle Beach Bowl win. Jared, wasn't sure the fans were going to get this one right. I'm very, very glad that they did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad they did because
Mm-hmm.
Domeys have been, I think, lost before. Just the justifiable winner has lost
Yep.
before out of
Yeah, I
out of
agree. I
fan
agree.
vote. And so this
We've had beef
one
with the
was
voters in
right.
the past. Yeah.
This one was right. The home upset over Memphis is the right answer, man. That game was monumental.
Yep. Well, UTSA moving from Adidas to Nike only got 5% of the vote, and the baseball series win against ECU 13%, and the Myrtle Beach Bowl 16%. So very, very solid victory for the home upset over Memphis. All right, next up is a category we had some pretty good nominations for. I can't remember who 5, 6, and 7 were, but I remember looking at the list. It is really tough to take some of these people off, for sure. For Athletics Newcomer of the Year, first up, we've got Primo Spears from men's basketball, the transfer from Florida State, who had several stops throughout his career that I won't attempt to name all of them live on this recording. But whenever I prepared the ballot, Primo was averaging over 20 points per game. He's been an incredible scorer for UTSA. He always has the ball in his hands in the last minute or two, which has been a bit up and down this year for sure. But still, he's had a huge impact on the program and definitely one of the better raw talents we've seen enter the men's basketball program in quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. He is at 20 points per game. But he's been absolutely phenomenal, I think, for this team. But when you talk about just raw talent, the dude can play ball and kind of does it everywhere, but just really, really graceful letting go of the shot and always kind of in control of himself and in control of where the basketball is. I mean, he's a player that you like to watch. He plays pretty basketball, right? Yeah, I like Primo Spears' game a whole lot. Definitely one of the best raw talents coming here. 20 points per game is pretty ridiculous. But he's got it. He's got it. He's got it big time.
Yeah, next up is one of 2 high-impact freshmen for the football program. Patrick Overmeyer, the really large tight end converted over from high school quarterback. I don't think the stats really tell the story. He only had 283 yards and 3 touchdowns, but his talent just really, really popped off. The screen, the film, whatever you want to call it. Really high ceiling player for UTSA. Had a great year. Made a huge impact in a very crowded room with a lot of talent. Definitely a guy I think we're all really excited to see him continue to develop and pack on that extra muscle and add a little bit more to his game as far as blocking and stuff like that goes. But awesome debut for him.
I mean, he was just electric when he was on the field. It was very, very noticeable when he was on the field. Yeah, 6'5", probably 240, 235, 240. Out of Kingwood, Texas, too, as well. So shout out to that. But Patrick Overmeyer was phenomenal. He had 283 yards, but on 31 receptions. So, I mean, a lot of consistent volume with his hands throughout the year. And more he was getting involved. But he was on the field for just a lot of draw-ups, Jared. And whether he was doing it off the ball, the lunch pail stuff, or getting after it with his hands, I mean, it was really, really tremendous on the football field. But he noticeably made an impact whenever he was out there. It's just going to be incredible to watch what he blossoms into.
Yeah, we'll keep it moving with our next football nominee as well. Brandon High kind of steps in, I would say, a little bit unexpectedly at the running back position. I think those that follow recruiting had pretty high expectations of him. But I think he may have fallen off the radar a little bit, right? Because he ended his senior season early. Weird situation. I think his coach got fired midseason or something like that. So he shut things down. He early enrolled at UTSA and then had an injury. So, he took that redshirt year. And I don't think we really expected to see much of him this year with UTSA having so many veteran running backs in that kind of stable that they had. But Brandon High just forced his way into the rotation and, ended the year with 5.3 yards per carry, astonishing 8 touchdowns as a freshman. Not only as a freshman, but also in a room where you've got 4 guys that are, ready and willing to provide quality snaps as a Division I running back. So I think very, very telling of his ability to find the end zone. The number would have been a lot higher without his rib injury, which I believe he sustained while diving into the end zone on a touchdown run, a pretty long one that gave UTSA the lead against ECU, a lead they ended up squandering. But nonetheless, what an amazing year for High, and he's going to be heavily featured in the offense next year for sure.
Big time, man. Yeah, you saw him sort of get the trust factor whenever we were getting down in scoring situations there from Jeff Traylor. 5.3 yards per carry, but Jared, those 8 touchdowns actually led the entire running backs room at that.
Wow.
So led the team with those 8 touchdowns. Brandon High Jr. was just electric this year, man. And so really, really great stuff for a room that had a lot of uncertainty. I think in 2024, we're very, very sure of the future, I think, with Brandon High at that position.
Yep. All right, our 4th nominee for Athletics Newcomer of the Year is Mason Lytle, the transfer from Oregon. Had a great season, I would say, both at the plate and defensively for the Roadrunners out in the outfield. 346 batting average, and he led the team with 43 RBIs. Very notably, he was courted by power programs to leave UTSA and decided to stay as a Roadrunner, and has had a pretty solid start to his 2025 season.
Yeah, it's massive. That's massive. I think that should also go with his resume entirely as 2024, because technically the poaching would have occurred in 2024, right? So withstood that to stay at UTSA throughout 2024, on top of the great stats that he had in 2024. So yeah, incredible stuff, man. Mason Lytle, San Jack's own. So shout out to that. Pretty incredible. He's been fantastic, man. And now just a leader of the baseball team going forward. Yeah, Mason Lytle.
Yeah. Well, announcing the winner of this category is a little difficult because it actually came down to a tie. So we had to perform a rare emergency staff vote to settle this. So the people were tied between Primo Spears and Mason Lytle. Upon review by the official staff board of Alamo Audible, we have given the tiebreaker to Mason Lytle of UTSA baseball.
Incredible, man. I don't know that we've had a tiebreaker of that monumental, that colossal. I mean, Newcomer of the Year, and who knows how much controversy is going to come with it, Jared. Oh, the panel, this and that. No, I think Mason Lytle is the right call here. I think Mason Lytle at a 346 batting average and leading the team with 43 runs, RBIs, and also not on that, but the success that UTSA baseball had altogether.
Yeah, that's why I voted for Mason.
Versus UTSA basketball, you have to give it to a Mason Lytle in that sense.
Right. I'm happy with the growth that we're seeing from Austin Claunch's team. This team is way more fun to watch. They're way more competitive than last year. Just a better team top to bottom, right? And they can really hang in there with most teams. But the fact of the matter is, like, Mason was the leader, and single-handedly, I would say, like, turn the tide in some really big contests for the baseball program. Of course, we talked about the series win over ECU and just a very successful season for baseball. So that team success aspect was the reason why I gave him the nod in my vote.
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
Right,
I think it was the right vote. Mason Lytle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll say too, this was, I think, our most competitive category across all of them. As I scroll through the votes, 100%, this was the most balanced. The
great distribution
was only 18%, right? So pretty great job, and I think goes to show how difficult it is to put this ballot together, but also the level of talent that UTSA is getting in, via the transfer portal and high school recruiting, all of that is going to make that category continue to be difficult for sure, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, incredible stuff, man. Really, really good distribution on that.
All right, let's jump into Male Athlete of the Year. So this is actually the first year that we split out the male athlete and the female athlete, which was something that I was resistant to in the past. But having seen some of the results, I felt it was unjust to not have a separate category for the women, not
Yeah.
only to make sure that incredibly highly achieving UTSA women are getting recognized, but also that we have the opportunity to nominate more of them, give them additional exposure, and give them their
Yeah.
just due. Great
Absolutely.
group on both sides, male and female. But to start off with the men, we've got Hunter Bott. He qualified for an NCAA postseason tournament in men's golf, but also set the program's single season scoring average record at 71.94 strokes. So what a season. Honestly, I think flew under the radar a little bit. I don't think Hunter was like hyped up too much coming into the season. I think he kind of surprised people with his success. But, literally the best ever do it. So
Unbelievable, man. Yeah, so he's been at UTSA since he was a freshman. And so you got to understand, I mean, he's like really, really put in the work here because like you say, Jared, he wasn't, at the top of the team whenever he first got here. I don't think he was the most talented guy in the room, but he was very, very good coming out of high school in Montgomery. So I think just over his time here at UTSA, he's just gotten better and worked on his game and gotten better into now just being an absolute stud, man. And he was highly, highly hyped up going into his 2024 season as well. And he kind of earned that. But you got to understand, in just 2 years ago, this guy was like a third team All CUSA selection. So, I mean, very much middle, above, slightly above average. But now to sort of get to where he's got, I think shows development in his game, how much he's gotten better in his time here. Really, really impressive stuff, dude, on the invite for Hunter Bott.
Well, next up is Mason Lytle from baseball. We just spent a lot of time talking about him for Newcomer of the Year, but not often you see someone get nominated for both Newcomer of the Year and Athlete of the Year. So tremendous job from Mason. Next up, we've got two football players in the nominees list. First up is Zay Frazier. Similar to Hunter Bott, another guy that I think there was like some excitement for, but no one expected this out of him. He ended his season with 6 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. Several of those interceptions and PBUs were just incredibly, incredibly athletic plays. Some of the most jaw-dropping displays of ball skills and athleticism we've seen from a corner throughout his time here, and he is actually taking part in the NFL Combine this weekend as well. So what a freaking season for Zay. So cool to see, yet another guy that chose UTSA over, other places where, probably would have got more money. So to see him stay here, commit to his development, develop behind other starters, right? He wasn't even a starter his first year, overcome a lot of adversity, and now, going to have a chance to go play at the next level, and turn down some thousands of dollars for an SEC NIL deal and potentially turn it into millions if he gets drafted. So we're all rooting for him, and it's just a lot of fun to watch him this year.
Well said. Jared, 6 interceptions for Zay Frazier was tied for the second most in the country.
Wow.
And Zay did it in just 12 games, at that. So, yeah, man, big shout out to Zay. And really he only did it in 3 because he had 2 interceptions every single time that he got one. So he had he had 2 interceptions in 3 games. 3 games each. 6 interceptions across 3. So yeah, really, really impressive. Zay Frazier, dude. Whenever he's hot, he's red hot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah, it just so strange to me that quarterbacks continued to test him, but we'll take those. All right, rounding out the nominee list is the young golden boy himself, the sophomore gunslinger, Owen McCowan, taking over the reins from Frank Harris and delivering way more success than I think many people expected of him. He ended his 2024 campaign with an incredible 3,764 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, and just 10 interceptions. And I don't have his rushing stats pulled up in front of me, but he also made a huge impact on the ground. Notable touchdown runs in the bowl game against Coastal Carolina, as well as one of the funniest plays of the year when they were playing Temple on ESPN2, And Temple's athletic director was in the Alamo Dome, and they were interviewing him about firing Temple's head coach. And like as that was happening,
Oh my
you can see Owen
gosh.
in the background of the shot, like running for a 75-yard touchdown right through the Temple Owl defense. So that was pretty hilarious.
Brutal. Gosh, yeah, what a moment that was. Incredible moment. Owen McCown was incredible all year long, man. He gave us incredible moments all year long. He stepped into a leadership role and commanded this offense. Really showed no fear in moments that were heavy and heaving the ball whenever he needed to. We also saw him just learn a lot, man. Learn how to be smart throwing the football. As the season went on, he went from being a very raw but talented quarterback to being much more poised and calm under pressure. You saw the game slow down a lot for Owen and really got better week by week. He's going to continue to just be a stud here and grow and get better every single game. Huge, tremendous fan of Owen McCown, and we've always banged the gavel here for him on Alamo Audible.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no doubt. Well, I will say football dominated the votes on this one, but do have to give a huge shout out to Hunter Bott. Securing 18% of the vote for Male Athlete of the Year as a golfer is a huge achievement. And I know that our fan base is probably a little bit biased in that they're way more locked into the rest of UTSA athletics than probably most UTSA fans out there. But that was really cool to see a golfer get 18% of the vote because it's not a very flashy sport that gets a lot of coverage. We certainly don't cover golf all that much. We have had some attempts in the past. So huge shout out to Hunter for that achievement. But by a margin of a single vote, Owen McCown takes it for Male Athlete of the Year for your UTSA Roadrunners.
Man, dude, incredible stuff. Well deserved. Owen was the single, I think, MVP for UTSA football this year, was the best player on the team, and was really just a stud. But Jared, I think it goes to show, I mean, look at the competition in these last two categories. Very, very tight, neck and neck.
Yep.
Tied up, really good distributions that we're seeing across the nominees. In years past, with all the big successes of conference titles and, winning double-digit games, it never really felt like we had extremely tight Domeys votes in any particular category. Now to see it happening just sort of category by category almost goes to show you we've got a little more excitement in the Domeys with the more well-balanced, I think, across all athletics with how the football dominance of winning conference titles. This has got me juiced up. These tight votes have got me juiced up.
And imagine too, as like men's basketball continues to improve too, how difficult some of these votes will get when UTSA is like a bubble tournament team. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for that. And I think kind of to tie back to what we were saying at the start, like it just felt like there weren't these massive moments like these Hollywood, blockbuster things we'll remember for certain wins or whatever. But I just feel like the program as a whole got healthier this year. And I think some of these votes are reflecting that. So to move over to Female Athlete of the Year, while we were just talking about how tight the voting was across all the candidates, not the case. Maybe we can rename this one the Jordan Jenkins Female Athlete of the Year. Jordan is our first nominee, 18.8 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, 48% shooting from the floor. That was at the time I put the ballot together, so I'm not sure what her current stats are. But she's only continued to excel in 2025 since then. She should have won last year. I feel strongly about that. And she didn't, whatever we combined male and female. So we'll go through the other nominees as well. But I figured it wouldn't be a surprise to say that Jordan's taken home this one. And very, very well deserved with a 90% vote share.
90% of the vote share, I think it's okay to just go ahead and call it. Yeah, 90% of the vote share is pretty impressive. And this is just 2024. And remember, the year prior, she was CUSA Player of the Year and was really, really incredible. She was, limited, I think, in her starts last year because she did have a little bit of that injury she was dealing with, I think, in the offseason. But still, managed to come in and just post team highs just all over the place. Was a player of the week 1 week, I think, there early in the year. And Jordan Jenkins has just been fantastic, I think, for this basketball team altogether. dude, has really just sort of been the spirit, right? The fire spirit of UTSA women's basketball. And so, yeah, well deserved, incredible stuff. 48% shooting is just ridiculous, man. It's just it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Monica Gibbs was a little bit before my time, and I think she's probably the one that could even come close in this category. But Jordan is the smoothest scorer I've seen come through this women's basketball program.
Mm-hmm.
I got the chance to see the team up close and personal when they played against Rice here in Houston on Saturday. And I mean, Jordan had like 14 points. And I looked up at the scoreboard and I saw that, and I'm like, I don't even feel like she's taken like 5 shots. You know what I mean? Like the game just comes so easy to her. It's so fun to watch her. She's a great teammate, super supportive. So great to see her finally take a Domey home after she's deserved one for several years now.
Yeah. Well said, Jared. Yes, well said. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So while Jordan did run away with this one, we do want to take a moment to recognize our 3 other nominees as well, who all had very deserving seasons. First up is unfortunately a player who's transferred out of UTSA, but Sophie Morin was incredible for the soccer program last year. So fun to watch.
Yeah.
And, I don't know a lot about soccer statistics and analytics and stuff like that. So I wasn't sure like what stats I could pull to really, impose, how effective she was. But she'd have 12 shots on goal for a .706, I think, shooting percentage. But I think like her impact is much more felt on the kind of chemistry side of soccer. She's not like the number one goal maker on last year's team, but her energy, her presence, her hustle, her grit was awesome. She just played with a ton of passion, a ton of energy. She'll definitely be missed, and still rooting for her.
Yeah. A lot of hustle.
Next up, we got Mia Sorensen, who had a really, really strong year on the volleyball team. She had 369 points and a astonishing 2.85 kills per set, which was drastically higher than anyone else on the team. And I didn't finish this exercise, but I started to go back and see like the last time someone had that high of kills per set for the volleyball program. And I went like 3 or 4 years back and didn't find anyone that came close to Mia. So I'm not sure the historical relevance of that and how far back that goes, but she was just a massive presence on the court for the Roadrunners, and definitely like reinvigorated me when it comes to volleyball. I'd kind of tuned out to the volleyball program for a while because it had gotten pretty stale, I guess you could say. But Mia's a special talent, so I'm excited to see what she does this upcoming season.
She's been incredible since she got here from Kent State. She was incredible in 2023. She was second team All AAC, and she's been eclipsing incredible marks. She was ninth in the AAC in 2023 with 4 kills per set. She's been really dominant ever since she's got here, and so yeah, Mia Sorensen I think is a fantastic nominee to have here on this list, Jared.
Yep. And we'll wrap things up with our first softball nominee for any award, I think, in quite a while. That's Jalen Pritchard. She had a very, very nice year at the plate. Batting average at .338, on base percentage of .468, and a slugging percentage of .412. So incredible output there. And, we've really seen the softball team start to turn things around and, get on the right trajectory under Coach Van. And Jalen's out to a really strong start, really strong start to her 2025 campaign as well. So who knows? Maybe we'll see her back on this list a year from now.
.338 batting average is pretty nuts. Also, she had the team best multiple hit games with 11. Right. So yeah, really good stuff.
Right. Well, Adrian, we do want to take a quick moment to recognize the sponsors that make the Domeys possible, that have also made 2024. I think the year that we did the most like community outreach and engagement with Roadrunner fans. It can be hard for us sometimes because both of us live in Houston and have pretty demanding jobs and family lives and all of that. So it was just great to take the support that we receive and pour that back into the UTSA community. We've also done some really cool stuff this year as well. We were a sponsor for the Alumni Dash. So it was cool to see our brand on the t-shirt this year. If you got one, go look out for us. Also did an NIL deal with the entire baseball team, thanks to a generous donor. So that was a huge achievement. Looking forward to seeing some pictures for that. We got some other stuff in the works as well. So it's been great. And honestly, the support never fails to amaze us. But we're taking an extra special moment to recognize all that here on the Domeys, as it is our chance to reflect back on the year that was. And Adrian, I didn't talk about this with you before previously, but I think 2023 was the first year that we launched annual memberships on Patreon, and I don't think we were like that surprised that some of our subscribers opted to convert to an annual subscription because they do get a discount for it. But to see so many of those renew, I don't know like what the renewal rate is for it, but I feel like almost everyone that signed up for an annual subscription has renewed it, which is so cool because it's not cheap, and we definitely see that and really, really appreciate it.
Well said, Jared. It's just impossible for us to do any of this without our Patreon. And I really, am shocked that we've been able to start it and have the support that we've had over the years. It's really, really, truly been special. The moments from 2024 that we were able to have with our donors was awesome, and we were able to just be involved with a lot of stuff. We were able to do the alumni association pre-game for the home opener again. It was the first time we had done that, and it was on this really big, cool stage this year. That was really, really spectacular, and we got a lot of support. And we know some people that listen to the podcast that probably don't want to maybe have to get to the dome 3 hours before just to make sure they see our live show, but they do that for us. And, that's incredible, man. It's really, really something. And then we're able to spend the rest of the time hanging out with them at the tailgate. And so we always appreciate seeing guys around and walking through the tailgate lots and getting support, saying hello to everybody. It's been awesome. And so tremendous, tremendous shout out to the Patreon donors and every single person that has subscribed before to the podcast.
Yeah, one last like kind of big picture thing I'll say to you before we do the individual shout outs is like we've had so many of our Patreon supporters like kind of reach out to us at tailgates or online or whatever and just talk about how much they've appreciated like the video content that we've been doing on YouTube. I know that's something that people had wanted for a long time, and we really struggled to execute a strategy for that. And then, what I've told all of them is like literally like it would not happen without Patreon, right? Because we had to invest in so much software to get and hardware as well to get the level of product that like we expect. So like literally like literally would not happen without Patreon supporters. So just know that the money isn't just going into our pocket. It's reinvested into the show and supporting UTSA and UTSA student athletes. All right. Well, Adrian, I'll do the Board of Trustees shout outs if you want to take big money donors here in a second. Want to say a big thank you as always to first off our two longest supporters of all time, Digiteek and John Otwell, there since day one and still rocking with us. Thank you guys. Y'all are truly legends, including some other great people like Gary and Ruben representing the UTSA Bird Gang Tailgate, Ray Redding, Brandon Grell and the Grell Realty Group, Andy Elizada at Proficient Benefit Solutions. Oh, another cool 2024 first time I got to watch a game in a suite. Thanks to Andy. So it was great meeting you, great hanging out with you. Thank you.
Wow.
Another great 2024 memory. Also, a big shout out to Ian McClendon at Secret LSE, Javan Townsend, who's the president of the DFW chapter of the UTSA Alumni Association, Ryan Squares, Waterman Construction, UTSA Annual Giving, Wayne Gonzalez, and the Runners Rising Project.
Yes, and a special thanks as well to the big money donors, Ben Tobar, the Bunch family, Zach Espericueta, and the San Antonio Podcast Network, Alejandro Benavides, Dan Nerdahl, our host of Around the Bird Bath, which those episodes are back in full swing. Check your feed.
Also,
listen to
Dan, class of 2024, UTSA graduate. Congratulations.
Massive alumnus Dan Nerdahl, our host of Around the Bird Bath podcast. Yes, that is indeed correct. Jacob Cavazos, the board president for the UTSA Alumni Association. That was instrumental in getting us out there to those pregame shows on the home opener. So big shout out to Jacob. Thank you, sir. Brandon Padron, John Nally, Rick Cortez of the Rowdy Road Grillers, Sumner McDaniel, UTSA King Bowser, Maddie, Homefield Apparel, where you can use the discount code UTSA Wants Home Field. You will save 15% off your first order with UTSA Once Home Field. And if you still want to support the podcast, you can always go to the Alamo Audible fan shop right there on our website, almoaudible.com/fan shop. I guess / right? / whatever it is. Yeah, and get some cool Alamo Audible merch, some UTSA merch that you can't get anywhere else right there.
All right, awesome. Well, every good award ceremony has a musical break, a musical guest, and no different for us here. Someone did ask last year, like, "Oh, y'all should pay someone to actually record a video of a song." Maybe we'll do that next year. I don't know. It's hard enough to just get the dang ballad together. But we will send you guys off for a special cumbia break. So do enjoy that, and we'll be back here in just a second to get our last 3 categories of Domeys handed out. All right, guys, welcome back for the cumbia break. We're here to wrap the show up with 3 of our final Domey categories to end the night here. A very special night at the Domeys Awards. Next up, we have top non-athletic moment of 2024. And Adrian and I talked about this a bit at the top of the show, where it felt like the stuff that happened off the field, off the court, it's going to have a bigger, longer-lasting, more monumental impact. And this category really drives it home. I'm going to do the opposite approach as I did for top female athlete of the year. And I'm going to save the very clear winner till the end and mention the first nominees off the bat. First off, one that I'm quite passionate about is someone who practices my career in this space, but UTSA announcing a combined college with disciplines in AI, cybersecurity, computing, and data science all under one house. And folks, I got to tell you guys, like, UTSA is so far ahead of the curve on this stuff. It just blows my mind. I literally look at resumes for people in AI and cybersecurity, data science, pretty much every day in my career. And it's just so rare to see anyone come out of a program that actually has concentrations in all this stuff, but much less to have a strategy to combine it all under one college and like the research opportunities that it creates and stuff like that. It's just something I'm super proud of as an alumnus. And it's just really cool to see UTSA, kind of blazing a new trail here.
It's tremendous, man. It's not the future, it's the now. Tech has been at the forefront of jobs in the USA, and San Antonio, UTSA, trying to create a small little, dare I say, Silicon Valley-esque style hub here for technology, I think is unbelievable. It's cutting edge, Jared. And yeah, this is a massive development for the institution of UTSA. And I think a long time from now, we'll be looking back at this college being created and saying, wow, look at what it's done for this university.
Yep, agreed, for sure. Next up, that new college is going to be downtown at the San Pedro building, and not too far away from there is UTSA's latest investment. We've seen UTSA become more and more active in the real estate market. Activity happening all over downtown and Park West as well. But the one that I think really stood out this year was UTSA expanding their downtown growth strategy with the purchase of One Riverwalk Place, which is a large tower downtown on the Riverwalk. My understanding is that's mostly going to be used for office space for administrative purposes. And with the merger happening, I think there's going to be a lot more demand for office space and to be able to move a lot of that stuff downtown and, enrich downtown activity. I think is really, really huge, not only for the university, but for the whole city.
Yeah. This is massive. This is absolutely tremendous, Jared. You're on that north end of the Riverwalk. You're very close to the Tobin Center, Hotel Havana, and on that note, close to the St. Anthony. But just the thought of skyline of San Antonio,
right,
being plastered with that UTSA just right there on that top upper corner of the skyscrapers, state of the art, really now putting, your tag, your footprint in the middle of downtown, on the top of downtown at that. And UTSA is just one component of just this massive revitalization that's happening in downtown San Antonio right before our very eyes, man. And for UTSA to be on the forefront of it, and now what San Antonio's downtown is going to turn into over next 10 to 15 years, it is going to be a monster, dude. And UTSA is going to be sitting right at the top. You better believe, people are going to be coming into town for the massive tourism hub that San Antonio is, and it will just be streets adorned in UTSA's colors and roadrunners and rowdies, banners on the light posts. Give it to me, baby. This is the college of the city.
Beautiful. Well said. All right, next up is one I'm still learning about, for sure. But just as we've seen UTSA increase their investment in research activity when it comes to data science, AI, cybersecurity, all that kind of stuff, we've also seen an uptick in research activity around space technologies. So we have seen a few stories come out of UTSA where they're helping to research, materials, habitats for potential, moon settlement, right? And just incredible stuff. And I think we're just getting started here, right? With a lot of the partnerships UTSA has with like the Southwest Research Institution and all of that. But it's really cool to see UTSA kind of branch out and start to have bigger impact in, I guess, like areas of engineering that are really niche and really cool and tend to draw a lot of media coverage and a lot of eyeballs.
Yes, indeed.
UTSA to the moon.
UTSA to the moon, baby.
We'll wrap it up with our Domey winner for Top Non-Athletics Moment of 2024. No surprise, receiving all but one vote. A shout out to the space fanatic who voted in the ballot this year. The UT system announcing the merger between UTSA and UT Health San Antonio. There is nothing I could say that would be hyperbolic here. It is an absolute game changer. It's a whole new paradigm for UTSA, obviously, but also for UT Health. For the UT system, for the city of San Antonio, for each and every person listening to this podcast that cares at all about UTSA. There is a BCAD effect here, pre-merger, post-merger. This is literally a new university, new institution. Man, strap in, brother. The next 5 to 10 years are going to be a wild, wild ride.
I think we did one big recap episode whenever this was announced, Jared. But here in the off season, it's probably time to spend more time on this. It's just such a massive, massive movement in UTSA's timeline. I think we've got to document it as such, right, and give it its just due. So here in the off season, maybe we can spend some more time on an extra exclusive pod or two discussing this merger even further.
Yeah, I would love to have a Patreon bonus episode to just learn more about UT Health, right? Like the different programs they have, the medical center aspect, the hospital aspect, all that kind of stuff, right? Like what should UTSA fan or UTSA alumnus know about UT Health and like, what to look out for and all of that. Yeah. So hopefully we can pull it off. I think that'd be really informative.
How many UT Health alums listen to the podcast?
Oh, I don't know.
We'd love to have your take.
Not a lot.
If you're out there, we'd love to have your take. We'd love to know what it's like being acquired and your take on it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think we should look at it as an acquisition either. Like I said earlier,
no, it's a merger. It's a merger. Absolutely, yeah. It's a merger.
Yeah, you can't discredit the impact that they bring to the table. And like I said, I truly see it as a brand new university, and that brings together both.
It is. It's the right way to look at it. But at the end of the day, it's UTSA is remaining the name of UTSA and UT San Antonio. So it's a massive more uplift. Well, Jared, we'll have to see. But it's a massive uplift to the brand that is the Roadrunners in UTSA, by all means. We'll talk about it more whenever we get on a couple of exclusive episodes for UT Health. But it is by far the biggest story of 2024, and it's what this year will be remembered for. Rightfully so. I just think it's fantastic for UTSA, and I know everybody does, but just incredible. It's been a long time coming, and I think at one point, everyone thought it would never even happen. So it's incredible that it's actually here, Jared. Huge.
Play of the year. We're getting to the really fun and special ones. So first up, we've got Adara Udo game-winning layup against Charlotte in double OT. And it wasn't so much the layup that was so memorable here, but just the buildup of this game, the energy. I think I watched from like the last couple minutes of the. I can't remember if they were doing quarters last year, or if that was new this year. I think it was quarters. But yeah, the last few minutes of the game and into OT and double OT, and it was just like a huge battle back and forth. And you know, if you've ever watched this women's basketball team, you know that Adara plays with like so much passion and energy on the floor, and truly gives it her all. So like the celebration after that shot, and seeing the team just kind of all come together after the win was a really cool, really special moment. And I think just another one of those indications, like, wow, this program is really about to take off, and we've seen them do that this year. As we have been recording, the news broke that due to some losses to some competitors, UTSA was able to clinch the 2025 regular season championship in the American Athletic Conference. So huge congratulations to Coach Aston, her staff, and her players on an incredible achievement and remarkable, unfathomable turnaround for what was, I think, UTSA's worst program before Coach Aston got there.
Incredible, man. Incredible stuff. Yeah, that was a big one. I love that moment. Double OT doesn't get any higher stakes than that. But yeah, I mean, I think just the bigger picture of what women's basketball has done, it's been phenomenal watching that completely turn around. And it's again going back to, you know, you see so many sports do it and you watch it happen right in front of you. I mean, it's really special what we get to watch these last couple of years at UTSA across multiple sports. This is happening.
Yep. All right. Well, to keep it moving, next up we've got another Mason Lytle appearance. This guy's all up and down the ballot. Maybe the most appearances for a single athlete on a single Domeys ballot.
I think you might be right, Jared. Nice,
yeah. And Mason gets a nomination here for his incredible game-winning grand slam against Texas State. This game was at home at the Birdbath, and if I remember correctly, I think Texas State had defeated UTSA and San Marcos early that year with 2 grand slams of their own. And then Mason,
that's right.
I could be wrong and misremembering this, and Dan is like gagging while listening. But I believe that was the turn of events, and then they come back. San Antonio play the return game, and Mason Lytle gets the grand slam to give UTSA a huge lead over Texas State, and they hold on to win that one. Just one of many special moments that I think Mason brought to this baseball program.
Yeah, phenomenal moment, man. And it doesn't get any better than doing it against Texas State. It just, nothing beats it. Yeah, Mason Lytle, phenomenal Domeys night for Mason Lytle, all over this thing.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. All right, next up, we already talked about this play. I should have saved some rounds on that one, but nonetheless, Owen McCallan's 75-yard touchdown run against Temple gets the nomination. You guys just heard me talk about that, so I guess we'll just move on to the next one. And that is a awesome moment from soccer. I think this one was underappreciated for sure. Sasha Dade converts a corner kick with a header in the 88th minute against FAU to secure a winning record on the season. That was the last game of the regular season for the ladies. Unfortunately, I don't think they earned a bid to the conference tournament. That win could have put them in contention for it, but I think they needed some other teams to lose their games, and it didn't work out. So it would have been an even bigger moment if that would have got UTSA in the conference tournament. But unfortunately, that was a little bit outside of their control. But nonetheless, what an awesome way to essentially walk off the end of your season.
Absolutely clutch to come up with a header to secure the winning record. Yeah, man. And there's another parallel there with, you know, soccer and football, but having the conference titles and now fighting for that winning record and being able to get it, you know, stay on the winning record just there. Yeah.
Yep.
Funny subplot.
All right. Without further ado, the Domey for Play of the Year goes to a man who has become a legend, this Domey's Mason Lytle, taking it home with a massive 63% of the vote share.
Wow.
Adrian, I got
Wow.
to tell you, when you do it big against Texas State, the Dome heads will reward you. They will remember that. You will be recognized. So, congrats,
Absolutely.
Mason. Let's
Absolutely. And
turn into
rightfully
a UTSA
so.
legend.
Wow, man. Yeah, dude. You beat Texas State, you get a Domey, damn it. That's how it works.
That's
Yeah,
right.
incredible stuff, man. Incredible stuff. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Good job, and good job on the Domies.
All right, Agent. Well, the moment everyone has been waiting for, the most notorious Domey category, meme of the year. And I will say, big downtick in nominations this year. As you guys are listening to it, please go through your bookmarks, go through your tweets. If you had a good meme, nominate yourself, nominate other people. Let us know. We want to see the best of the best. Adrian and I can't spend as much time on social media as we used to, so we need your help to see the brightest memes in the
Yes.
UTSA sphere.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, hopefully Aaron will be able to get screenshots up for you guys on the video because it can be hard to describe these memes. But first up, we've got friend of the pod at Rivals Harvey Cardenas of birdsup.com. I think the backstory on like this meme format was like an episode of like Housewives or something where like one woman is screaming and then like the other picture is like a cat eating a salad in a chair. There's many layers to this one. The caption is like, well, I guess the context is there was a story about the Brooks Development Authority getting called out by KSAT News for having a suite for UTSA football at the Alamo Dome. Brooks Development Authority was like, we're not taxpayer funded. We're just trying to support UTSA. We take our, potential investors out, so they can see San Antonio or whatever. So the meme that Javi put together was like that meme format, and the woman screaming is like, "Why are you spending money on UTSA football?" And then the cat is just like, "Birds up."
It's just crazy. It's crazy to me that there was a story ran on a corporation getting a suite in San Antonio. It's very, very small time for SA. We don't need to be teetering potential sponsors and NIL donors by blasting them with blog posts whenever they go to a UTSA football game. No. Do you know how many millions corporations spend getting very, very rowdy in the city of Houston, the city of Dallas, and Fort Worth? Like, it's not happening there. The city of Austin, it's not happening there. So like, let's grow up a little bit, man. We don't need to be steering away thousands of potential dollars that could come to UTSA football by running a freaking segment on them on Channel 4. This is nuts. This is extremely Bush League. Aside from the Domey and the memes, I'm just flabbergasted by this entire event occurring.
Adrian ranted about this for like 10 minutes before we started recording. I wasn't sure how hard he was going to go.
I'll save myself for the sake of time, but this is insane. My point stands.
Yeah, sure. All right, next up, we've got, I think, a newcomer for a Dome of the Year nomination. That's at ATX_210, a.k.a. Rowdy Rock. The meme is Batman slapping Robin with Robin saying, "You can't wear a black uniform through games." Pow! Trust the process. Then UTSA shows up to the bowl game in the black jerseys, pulls off a huge win.
Oh man, yeah. Look, there was even a segment right here on Alamo Audible where we discussed how much longer they can continue doing this black uniforms thing, and
Sure.
Jeff Traylor and his staff did not care. His players did not care. They were winning in black uniforms. You stick with what works. You keep winning. You keep putting on the black, and you keep winning. In fact, the only week that we didn't wear black against Army, we didn't win, which we probably shouldn't have worn black against Army, but still the point stands. We didn't win when we stopped wearing black. It was a massive spike in the juju and energy that led to this team turning around the November to remember, as Jeff Traylor so famously calls it. Yeah, and I think black jerseys are the one single thing that you'll turn around and look back on 2024 UTSA football. If you remember three things, you're going to remember Owen McCown, you're going to remember David Amador, you're going to remember black Permian Basin bird uniforms. Yes, absolutely.
So earlier I joked that we could call the Female Athlete of the Year award the Jordan Jenkins Award. Well, we could also call the Meme of the Year award the Bootleg Bentley Award. And of
100%.
course, at Bootleg UTSA lands on the nomination list. Really great work. He made a UTSA football bingo card. I won't read through every single item on the bingo card, but we got some good ones here. Several of them are NIL, so that's like 5 spaces that you get there. I love "That's on me," the head coach, as a phrase, and of course, you take a shot every time you hit anything on the bingo card. We're a young team is another one, and just a really great encapsulation of like what the first 3 months of the season were like, for sure.
Bootleg Bentley has never lost a Domeys Meme of the Year award.
Yep. All right, next up is I think another returning nominee for Meme of the Year at Rowdy Talk with the UTSA Roadrunner Cycle. This one is just so relatable. The process begins and ends with "We are so back, it's so over," going back and forth between the two of them with player injuries, kicking in, losing to a bad team, either blaming the quarterback, blaming NIL, beating a bad team, starting to believe. It's just, that's life.
That's the best sequence. The best sequence is that starting to believe, embarrassing loss. That's that happened a couple of times throughout the year, man. It's actually a really, really good flow chart. Well thought through. Yeah, I like this one a lot. This is a good one.
Yeah.
High level.
Yeah, some
high level. These last two, yeah, the bingo card and the flow chart are both very high level and well done. Yeah, really cerebral memes here. Good stuff, guys.
Most of the memes that have been nominated in the past are like reacting to like single moments, but these are like a little bit bigger picture, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, we haven't had that before. Good point, Jared.
Yeah. Well, Adrian, it had to happen someday. An upset has finally happened. Wow. The UTSA meme god has been at least temporarily dethroned.
Wow.
As the recipient of the Meme of the Year. To be honest, Adrian, I never thought this would happen. I never thought we would get here. I thought the only way it would happen is if Bootleg stopped tweeting. But nonetheless, it's time to pass the baton. It's time to hand the flowers. Shout out to one of the largest upsets in Domey history at ATX_210, taking it home with a Trust the Process meme. Shocking to help.
The Bootleg Bentley Domey, the Bootleg Bentley Meme of the Year Domey Award goes to the Trust the Process. I think it's the right call. I think it's by far the best context of the memes, because we all really were feeling like Robin at one point. With these
sure.
unis just continuing to come back on week after week. Yeah. But wow, man, Bootleg Bentley, a hell of a run. Longtime big supporter of Alamo Audible. A long time big, not just supporter, but I mean the heartbeat of UTSA Twitter, for so many years, especially like to opposing fan bases that might be unfamiliar with UTSA Twitter. They start coming around the corners and the alleyways of UTSA Twitter. And guess who's waiting for you underneath that street light? Is with that helmet and visor on, Bootleg Bentley, with a big old dirty meme about your university, about his own university. It's really, really incredible work that he's done. Our Picasso, our Michelangelo memes, Bootleg Bentley, man. Big shout out to him.
Yep. Yeah, huge congratulations to Rowdy Rock. I think a lot of people wanted to be the one to finally knock Bootleg Bentley off the podium.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal, man. Rowdy Rock. It's a big deal for Rowdy Rock, man. There's got to be some sort of something that occurs for winning the Meme of the Year the first time someone else wins it. Yeah, but
yeah.
Rowdy Rock, congratulations.
Hobbies was my personal favorite. That one had me laughing the most. I got a huge kick out of it when he first posted it and revisiting it during the Domey selection process. had me chuckling out of control. So way to go, Javi.
High level memes all around, man. Good stuff. Incredible stuff.
But again, keep the nominations coming. I think we've had 1 or 2 for 2025 so far. I want to have a nice list. I mean, we used to have a separate ballot just for the memes to narrow it down and then get down to 4. I would love to have that problem again. So please keep track of your memes. There's probably memes happening like on other social networks that Adrian and I aren't on that much. So like if there's a meme on TikTok or something, yeah, please let us know.
Yeah, I think we could include TikTok videos as memes at this point in 2025. I don't know. But it does feel like we need more. So yeah, give us some more to pick from. It is the most coveted Domey of the year. The only one that the only Domey that the people can actually win. So
yeah, we
keep that in mind.
We do have an alumni of the year category. I took a pause on it this year because I was just recycling candidates. I think we'll probably bring it back next year, maybe the year after that, just to keep fresh names on it pretty consistently. So you could win that one, like if you become a very successful business owner, or I don't know, do something crazy, go to the moon or whatever. Could be you. But the meme of the year is much more accessible, I think, to the average man or woman.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Angel. Well, any parting thoughts as we wrap up the year that was with another great Domey ceremony under our belts?
I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for making the Domeys possible, for being around for the Domeys yet again. 2024 was an incredible year for UTSA as an institution, as well as UTSA as an athletics department. I think that meme of the year with trust the process being the underlying message is such an appropriate send-off, because as we reflect on 2024, I think that's probably the overarching message is trust the process for UTSA as a university and institution, for UTSA as an athletics department, man, because we're going the right direction, and we've seen that now over the past couple of years, and no longer, Jared, is it just some sort of fluke? Is it just UTSA being a flash in the pan? No, this university is quite literally trending towards long-term growth and eventual dominance on all frontiers. And so, yes, we're very, very happy to be a part of that process, and for the Domeys to be a part of that process.
Built to last, baby. Couldn't say it better myself. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and sign off on that. Thank you again for watching. Hopefully you watched. If you listened, you missed out. But maybe next year you'll tune into the YouTube version. Can't wait for the 2025 Domeys. And want to say thanks again for everyone who followed our work throughout 2024. Continue to support us and keep the nominations coming. We'll see you guys back next year for the Domeys, but also really soon on some new episodes of Alamo Audible we have in the works. So we'll see you guys in the very near future. And thank you guys all so much for tuning in.